If you're a product of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or wish that you were, then you'll want to step inside Hip Gypsy Emporium for a trip back in time. We're a kindred spirits treasure trove located in the former Duffield School in Chambersburg. We offer home, garden, and vintage, clothing and jewelry, soaps and fragrances, teas and honeys, oils and crystals, products from local vendors and artisans, and Christmas items 365 days a year. Hip Gypsy Emporium, located at 2168 Mont Alto Road in Chambersburg.
Hello and welcome to another show of Connecting to Spirit with Stacey. My name is Stacey Niedenthal. I'm a child of God. I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a psychic medium and a shaman. And we come together every Tuesday at 10:30 to talk about spiritual wellness, spiritual wholeness, how to get connected with spirit, with your higher self, with yourself. So I have been doing different sessions with you all, talking about mediumship, talking about signs, talking about transitioning. Well, today I thought it's the 7th day of January. This is my first show since the new year, and I thought it would be a good time to talk about a new way of thinking for 2020. Every time you get towards the end of the year, everybody always thinks about what their New Year's resolution is going to be. How is 2020 going to be better than 2019? Well, for 2020, I love that it's 2020 because we have 2020 vision now. We've been through those things and now we're moving forward into greater things. But the secret to succeeding in the new year lies in concentrating the things in your life that matter. It's walking away from those things that are of no value to you. And that's where that true empowerment comes from. That's when you totally get present with yourself and you listen to your inner voice. So when we think about what our inner voice is, most of us are of a ripe age, let's just say, of wisdom. But we've been trained, we've been taught so many different things that you say, things that you don't say, ways that you behave, ways that you shouldn't behave. So when we're being trained up with all of this, do we ever think about who we actually are? What makes us comfortable? I do many, many sessions with people, whether it's doing a reading and bringing their angels through, or bringing their loved ones through, or doing energy healings on them. And you know what I've realized over and over and over and over again? The words anxiety and the words depression come up. And having gone through depression and anxiety myself, it's one of those things that it just kind of like, all of a sudden it can just sneak up on you and it's there. Like one day you're fine and the next day you're not. And then you're fine and then you're not. So how do we work through depression and anxiety? We try to change the way that we think. We try and find the positive things. You can't just fix the problem if you're not fixing your mindset. When you fix your mindset, then a lot of times the problem tends to get fixed. So how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways. Of course, counseling and doctors help, tremendously. But just them alone cannot fix the problem within yourself. You've got to be willing to dig down deep inside and solve and walk through the issues that are causing you those bumps in the road, that depression, that anxiety. There are people that have been through tremendous traumas. There are people who didn't have a very good childhood, or their job is very stressful. So when you think about all these things that are running around in your head, you know how when you always do like a spring cleaning or a summer cleaning, or you purge and you get rid of things? That's what I'm saying this new way of thinking would be. Purging those negative things that we tell ourselves and getting rid of them. Sounds easy. It's not, but it's doable. You can do it. So the way that you do that, how do you fix the way of thinking? There are several different ways that you can make spiritual transitions or transformations. Purging those negative thoughts. So every time you think of something negative, try and think of something positive. Meditation. I could not talk to you any less or any more about meditation. I can literally say to you that meditating has changed my life. It was very difficult in the beginning to meditate because my mind would go here, it would go here, it would go here, it would go other places. But through several years of continuing and trying different ways of meditating, it works very well for me. Now, there are some nights, like, it was the night before last, sorry, where I had to do a couple different meditations before I could actually get my mind to calm down. And there are meditations on YouTube. There's a one called Headspace, or just put meditation music on and listen to it. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about this, this almighty word. To meditate, what you're doing, it's not always sitting crisscross applesauce, kumbayaing for 3, 4, 5 hours, right? It's as easy as just taking 3 simple breaths. And you want to take very deep breaths. And when you're breathing in, you're like visualizing white light that's going in through your nostrils, down through your stomach rises, your stomach falls, the air comes out your mouth. You're breathing in. It's slowing the mind down. It's slowing the breath down. I never realized until I started meditating how shallow of a breather I was. Do you know what shallow breathing does? It makes you anxious. It raises your heart rate. It raises your blood pressure. It makes your mind spin in many different, ways, because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to think of this. I have to think of this. So it's slowing it down. It's talking slower. It's breathing deeper. Visualizing your stomach rising and falling. And you can meditate in as easy as 3 simple breaths. I did it that way to start with, and then shower meditations are also very good. And I love the significance of the shower meditation because you've got the water that's coming over you, so that's your noise. And if a thought comes to mind, the water is washing it away and sending it down the drain. So it is releasing those things that no longer have value to you. I used to ponder and think about things that happened 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and I would get flashbacks of those different things. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not in that same situation anymore. I have survived it. I have moved past it. It doesn't belong in my headspace anymore. So I need to meditate and release it. It's almost like we all have junk drawers at home, and you've heard me talk about this before if you've followed and watched. It's almost like we've got this junk drawer in the back of our head that tells us all the negative things that we've been hearing for the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It's what the world has trained us. So when you think about what you're watching, what you're putting into your head, what you're saying about yourself, those are 2 important key factors. If you're the person that sits around and watches the news 24/7, I guarantee you're going to be angry, upset, fearful, anxious, because you don't know what's true, you don't know what's false, you agree, you disagree, you're lost. You need to be informed, but it's not something to me that you need to feed in your head 24/7, right? So start looking at the things that you can do for yourself to change your ways of thoughts. To me, music is very relaxing. I love to dance. And when we go out, if it's a floor, it's a dance floor. When we go out, I get lost in the music. I'm not watching what I'm doing. My eyes are closed. I'm listening. Like I can feel the music. I can feel the rhythm in my body. And I just let it go. I don't care if anybody else is on the dance floor. I don't care if anybody else is watching. That's how I meditate. The shower meditation, meditating before you go to sleep. But when you try to meditate, or when you start meditating, things are going to pop into your head. Oh, I have to get this on my grocery list. Or, oh, I forgot that there's clothes in the laundry. Or, oh, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I don't want to forget. Acknowledge those things that come to your mind and come back to the meditation. It's like riding a bike. The first few times that you fell off the bike, you didn't stop. You kept trying again. You walked past those hurdles. So while you're meditating, sometimes the hurdles that creep in are going to be past experiences. They may be past traumas, things that people said to you. Well, you have two decisions to make. You can release what's holding you back, or you can allow those things to hold you captive, right? When you talk to a counselor, they talk you through your issues because you can't just keep pushing them back, pushing them down. You need to walk through them, learn the lesson that was taught you. There are miracles and traumas, and move forward with your way of thinking. There are people that I've had to release because they no longer fit into who I wanted to become. And it took me a little while to figure out who I wanted to become because I had so many events or people telling me, you can't do this or you shouldn't do this. Girls don't do that kind of stuff. What are you doing? You know what I mean? But when you dig down deep inside of what your true passion is, when you listen to that inner voice, that's when empowerment comes. I truly believe that depression and anxiety are caused by two things: the trauma of things that we were told, and the trauma of not being who we truly are, because we're so concerned about what people are going to say about us. So I had a medium tell me a couple months ago when he was doing a reading for me that it was none of my business what other people felt about me. It was only my business how I felt about myself. And a light switch went on. Because if I'm doing something to please someone else that doesn't feel right to me, I'm not being true to myself, and I've given my power over, I've given myself over to something that's not me. And that puts that, it puts that burden, or it puts that weight on your energy, because your energy is your most important thing. You know how when you carry around a backpack in school and it's filled with 10 or 12 books and you're finished with one of your classes, so you put a book in the in your locker, and all of a sudden it's a little bit lighter. You put another book in, it's a little bit lighter. That's what I'm asking you to do with the things that are giving you anxiety, the things that are depressing you, the things that no longer serve you. I'm asking you to take them out of your book bag that you're carrying with you. Work through it and release it. Now, to do that, meditation is one of the first steps. And again, this is my opinion to a new way of thinking to empower yourself. So meditating, because it's that safe space in your mind. It's that safe space where you can talk to yourself, you can talk to God, you can talk to your guides to work through what you need to work through. But if that safe space in your mind isn't safe because you're telling yourself negative things, that's when you have to tell your negative stuff, your negative side, stop talking. Listen. Okay? So we're meditating to release. Then there's an exercise that's called transference. So if you find that through meditating, all these things that are going to come up, there's like I said, there's an exercise called transference, where you actually write down things that are bothering you. I had issues with a family member, and I actually wrote him a letter, and I got out 35 years of anger and fear and problems that I had that were bottled up inside of me to get it out. And just the act of writing, that's that emotional thing. I was angry, I cried, I was sad, but I got it out. And then we have a fire pit in the back of our yard. And I sat there with the letter for a little while. I said a prayer, and I wanted to release each and every situation that I wrote about. And I wanted to forgive the situations. I wanted to thank the situations for teaching me what I needed to be taught. And then on the other side, I needed to release and forgive the person who put these situations in my path that stopped me. And then after I released them and forgave them, I needed to release myself and forgive myself. Because in looking at the different situations, it wasn't all my fault, but I wasn't innocent in a lot of the situations as well. It's coming to the realization and taking responsibility that we make mistakes. But if we keep those mistakes in our backpack, for 35 years I carried this crap around with me. And it stopped me, and it caused me depression and anxiety. And there's other things that were factors to it. But I found that when I sat at the fire pit and I forgave myself, I forgave the person that I had the issues with, and I released it so that it was no longer mine, I could breathe a little bit better. But one step further than that, I still had it on pen and paper in front of me. So I had the fire pit. I burnt the letter. Never to be seen by that person that I had issues with, because you know what? That person probably doesn't know that I still had issues stemming back from those many years ago. The only person I was hurting was my own spirit. And when I watched the letter burn, there were a lot of tears, and there was some fear too, because now I have released those things that I identified myself with. Now, who am I? Right? Now that I'm no longer being blocked by those things, who am I? Where am I going to go from here? So, back to meditating, back to releasing those things that no longer serve me. And after I burnt those things, if the situation would come up in my head, because our mind, you get that monkey mind, sometimes things just will come back in. I would literally stop and like tap on my forehead and say, that's not mine anymore. I gave that to God. He can handle it a lot better than I can. There's a reason why I went through that situation. It's because it made me who I am today, right? All of our situations, all of our traumas, all of our, I hate to use the word failure because they're not always failures, they're lessons. Are they good? No. There's a lot of pain that comes with that. But in labor, pain comes and then you have birth, right? So instead of holding on to those things that depress you, that cause you anxiety, it's time to work through them. It's time to face them head on instead of pushing them down. So you've meditated, you've done transference, you've worked through forgiveness. And let me tell you, I don't want you to think that I'm sitting around this fire pit releasing and forgiving this person, that I walked away thinking, okay, all is forgiven, because it took me weeks and months to actually be in a good place with myself after releasing this person in my life. And I came to the realization that people come into your lives for a reason, for a season, or for life. And there was a reason that he was in my life, and he was in my life for a season. But you know what? I no longer will accept the way this person made me feel. They're still connected to me. I still love them very much, but I don't need to hear their negative energy. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people that are watching this, that are listening to this, that we teach others that they can treat us like crap because we accept it and we keep our mouth shut. Okay? I'm not telling you to like spout off at everybody, but you can say, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but we need to have a conversation, a calm conversation. And then you need to believe in yourself. Believe that you are worthy of love, of success, of good things. Because a lot of times these past traumas have taught us we're not good enough. I was in an abusive relationship for several years. And I just believed that I was just not worthy of anyone's love or of having good things happen to me. I had a hard time making a decision when I got out of that relationship because I never made my own decisions. And it changes your whole perspective because you're in that little box. So what I'm asking you to do is take that little box out of your head, fill it with all those negative things that you've been telling yourself, and start changing the way you speak to yourself and you speak to the universe. Burn that little box. You no longer need it. If we're walking into 2020 with 2020 vision, we've seen what the past has given us. If you didn't like what the past has given you, it's time to change it. Look at what your spin cycle is. And, your spin cycle, Einstein said it well. When you do the same thing over and over and over again and you expect a different result, that's insanity. You can't keep doing the same thing. You're just going around and around in circles. If you're in a boat with one oar, what are you doing? You're going around in circles. So you need to figure out what your spin cycle is. What puts me in the situation that I'm in? What's that flashback? What has taken my strength away, or what has taken my confidence away? So when you're meditating, that's one thing that you want to ask your higher self. You want to release the things that are holding you back by having conversations with your higher self, with the Creator, with God, with the universe. Ask. The Bible says, ask and you'll receive. So I'm asking. So while you're meditating, and first we were just doing those 3 deep breaths, right? So take it a little bit further. Our bodies have different chakras, and there are specific chakras for specific things. So there are times when I meditate where I'm concentrating on each and every chakra. So when I start a meditation and I'm breathing in and I'm relaxing, I'm clearing the mind, I realize, or I visualize, white light coming from Creator to my crown chakra. And for me, my crown chakra is how I receive information. What comes in. So I'm breathing white light into my crown chakra, in love and light, and in a positive light. And then that white light is going to my third eye. And your third eye is that knowing things without seeing things. If you close your eyes and you can still sense what's around you, that's your third eye. And it's that visualization thing. It's that technique with that. And there are some people who can't visualize, but you have an imagination. And if I were to say to you, think about your house, instantly you pictured your house in your mind. That's what the third eye does. It lets you see things that you're not really seeing. So you're breathing that white light from the crown to your third chakra. And you want these chakras open and spinning because you want to receive the love and the light and the positive energy. So as the white light is going from your third chakra, now it's going to your throat chakra. To me, the throat chakra is one of the most important chakras because it's how you speak your piece, what you allow yourself to say, and kind of where your boundaries are. Because if you allow someone to speak to you in a negative way or to make you feel a negative way without speaking up, to me that means your chakra is closed. There's fear in the chakra. So you're opening up your throat chakra so that you can speak in love and light and in truth. Okay? Then the white light's going to the heart chakra. And the heart chakra, that's what attracts love and that sends and receives love. So that white light is coming down so that I can give the love and receive the love that I'm worthy of giving and that I'm worthy of receiving. And then the white light goes down to the solar plexus. That's your confidence, right? That's that gut feeling. There's a reason why your solar plexus is in your gut. There's a reason why people say, what's your gut feeling on this? That's your confidence level. So if you're getting ready to do something and it doesn't feel right, where's it at? It's here, right? So you want to have your confidence open and spinning, but you don't want it so open that now you're egotistical. So you need to balance these chakras. And then there's the sacral, which is below the solar plexus. And that controls the relationships that you build, right? So, white light, help me to receive, help me to see, help me to speak, help me to love, help me to know, and help me to have the relationships. And then there is your root chakra. And your root chakra, that's that exactly what it sounds like. That's the root to your tree. We're all basically like a tree. That's the roots. That's the things that go into the ground. So if you plant a huge tree in 10 inches of soil, what's going to happen to the tree? It's going to fall over. So you want to make sure that you are well grounded. And being well grounded is taking care of yourself, right? So you're receiving the positive thoughts. You're seeing the positive things. You're speaking in love. You're speaking with confidence, right? These are all going together in the relationships that you want. That's keeping you well grounded. And when one of those chakras gets a little off balance, it's like building a tower with blocks and there's one that's way far off. Then you've lost your balance. And just those 3 simple breaths can help you connect again. So that's what helps you to have that safe place within you. And when you meditate to forgive, to release, and to receive. And all your chakras being lined up are going to help you to do that. When you're meditating, ask, what's my spin cycle? Why do I always do this? What happens that this is something that I always do? Right? I'm that person. I am not a very good morning person. If I need to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I need to set my alarm for 7 because I'm going to hit that snooze button several times. So what's my spin cycle? My spin cycle would be if I set my alarm for 8 o'clock and I hit my snooze, now I'm 15, 20 minutes behind. Now I'm anxious. Now I have to shower quickly. Now I have to get dressed quickly. Now I'm driving quickly. Now I'm tense in my shoulders. I'm tense in my back. It's knowing yourself, being mindful of yourself. When you don't take care of your body, when you don't realize what your spin cycles are, that's when that anxiety comes. That's when there's road rage because someone's running late and they think the person in front of them doesn't know how to drive. Well, the person in front of them is on time, so I can just go the speed limit, right? So it's looking at what is causing you anxiety. And when we don't pay attention to our body, that's when our body is no longer at ease. And that's where the word disease comes from. And the first couple things that you want to notice is, my shoulders feel really tense. I have a headache. I haven't been eating. I'm eating too much. Start to pay attention and figure out what your spin cycles are and then try to do something about those spin cycles. But the very first spin cycle that I find in most people is how they talk about themselves. If you're talking negative about yourself, oh my God, I'm so dumb. I can't believe I did that. Don't tell yourself you're dumb. And I know it sounds silly and it sounds easy, but if someone has been telling you since you're 3, 4, 5 years old that you're dumb, that spin cycle, you're still teaching yourself the same exact things. You're not dumb. You're worthy. You've got so many gifts within you that nobody else has. It's just your job to find the peace and the happiness with those and get present with them. Because that's what today is. It's a present. So it's that new way of thinking for 2020, the new way of speaking and allowing yourself to release those things that no longer serve you. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and talk more about meditating, talk more about the way that you need to think. And if you have a question or want to call in, give me a call at 301-429-9247. So I'll be back in a few minutes. All right. Thank you.
If you're a product of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or wish that you were, then you'll want to step inside Hip Gypsy Emporium for a trip back in time. We're a kindred spirits treasure trove located in the former Duffield School in Chambersburg. We offer home, garden, and vintage, clothing and jewelry, soaps and fragrances, teas and honeys, oils and crystals, products from local vendors and artisans, and Christmas items 365 days a year. Hip Gypsy Emporium, located at 2168 Mont Alto Road in Chambersburg.
Hello and welcome back to Connecting to Spirit with Stacey. My name is Stacey Niedenthal. I'm your host. I'm a child of God. I'm a psychic medium. I'm a shaman and I'm a spiritual healer. And each week on Tuesdays at 10:30, I come live on WBGR under Health and Wellness to talk to each and every one of you about connecting to spirit. And when we think about a medium talking to you about connecting to spirit, it isn't always the spirit in the afterlife. It isn't always the angels that are around us. It's our own spirit. You know, you hear people talk about, oh my gosh, she's so spirited. You know, oh, she's got so much energy. And we have, oh my goodness. You know, it's finding that peace within ourselves to feel good and find the joy about who you are. You've got a choice that you can walk away from those things that hold you back. And you know what? As I was saying that, it just reminds me that sometimes you need to be held back to propel. So sometimes those things are put into your life to teach you the lessons of where you need to go, of helping others. So we were talking about meditating. We were talking about transference. And we were talking about forgiveness. So I've talked a good bit about meditation and transference. It's just writing a letter. It's writing those things down. It's getting it out of the mind and transferring it out. Burning it if it's something that you need to get rid of. But transference is also if you have to have a conversation with someone and it's not going to be an easy conversation with them. If you write down the things that you want to talk about, just pinpoint them, okay? And then put them to the side for the night. Pray about it. Go back, look at the list. Look at what is valid and what is petty. Because the things that are petty, that's not something that we need to talk about. You know, when people get into heated arguments, they bring things up that happened 4 or 5 years ago. Well, that's not what's happening right now. I thought we worked past that. So it's binding our relationships. It's getting rid of the spin cycle, because an argument is a spin cycle. Well, we need to talk about this and this. And as you're talking about these things that are happening today, if you start bringing out, well, you always do this, or 5 years ago you did that. You know what? We're not back 5 years ago. We're today. It's staying present. It's having that conversation in love. So we talked about meditation. We talked about transference. I talked about the chakras. So now I want to talk about forgiveness. And forgiveness is a hard one, because when you forgive someone, all of a sudden you feel like your wall is down and now I'm vulnerable, that someone can hurt me in the exact same way that I was just hurt. It's not true. It can happen again if you allow it to happen again. But if you look at the actions, the repeated actions of the specific situation, whether it's yourself or someone else, actions speak so much louder than words. The person that I had to release from my family that I did the transference from, we were in a spin cycle. About every 3 or 4 years, this would happen. And I would be vulnerable. I would forgive this person. I would let them back in, only to have them degrade me, put me down, not be totally happy with what I was doing or saying. And it took me a little while to realize that I had been fighting this battle with this person to get their approval. And I came to the realization that, you know what? I'm an adult. I don't need their approval. I need the approval of myself, my husband, my kids. You know what I mean? They'll let me know if they feel what I'm doing or saying is misguided or in the wrong area. And I'll listen. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. But if there is a particular person that is constantly saying that, you know, you'll never amount to anything, or you can't do this, you know what? You need to change your thought by stopping them from speaking, right? And I literally said to this person, I've forgiven you. I've released you, but I will not allow you to make me feel the way you've made me feel for the last 50 years or however long it was, right? I had to draw that line in the sand. I had to stand up to someone who I was taught to respect and taught to listen and not speak, right? But I'm an adult now. And this person was put into my life for a reason, to help me, to guide me through my young years. But I'm an adult now, and I feel like I make fairly good decisions. And if I don't, believe me, my husband will be the first one to tell me, what the hell are you doing? But he and I have that trust where he can talk me off the ceiling and I can talk him off the ceiling. And I'm not really sure where I was going to with this. This subject is one of those things that I'm very passionate about, but it's one of those things that it's hard to describe unless you actually go through it. I was talking about forgiveness. So when we hold a grudge, when we when we allow the other person to control our emotions, then, like I said, the only person that you're hurting is yourself. And that's what can cause depression and anxiety, right? There are so many things that can cause that. There's the economy. There's the way you were brought up. There's your job. If your job is physically making you sick on the drive to work, let me tell you, you need to think about that, right? Is it the job or is it you? Every Monday is a new day. It's a new chapter. If you get up and think, oh my God, it's Monday, I have to go to work, I have to deal with those people at work. Just saying those people, you've already pushed yourself out. You've already told the universe that you're going to have a bad week or a bad day. It's a new year. It's 2020, and everybody always talks about New Year's resolutions for the new year. It's going to be a better year. It's going to be a better this. So why do we wait the whole year for it to be better? Why don't you change your mindset and think every morning that you wake up, today's going to be the best day ever. It's a new week. It's a new day. It's a new month. It's a new quarter. Learn from the things. Figure out what the spin cycles are that are keeping you held back. And trust me, once you release that fear of the unknown, and you will, when you forgive the person and you release them, you're going to kind of mourn that, because now, especially if it's something that you have lived with or dealt with for several years, when, do I say this? Yeah, I'm just going to say it. When my ex-husband and I split up, it was not a good marriage. Both of us were to blame for it not being a good marriage. And it was verbally and physically abusive. But when I finally decided to leave, it was difficult for me because this is what I had been in 11 years. I felt like I lost my right arm. I couldn't even make a freaking decision on my own because I was never allowed to make the decisions. Or if I made a decision, it was a stupid decision. I allowed myself to feel like I couldn't take care of myself. And I built up this very large wall that, Lord help any man that tried to date me right after he and I dated. And I got to tell you, or he and I divorced, the first, 2 or 3 people that I dated, it was very similar. I was back in that same spin cycle. It was the wounded bird that I thought I could help, but I had to decipher for myself how I felt I needed to be treated. I wanted, if I was going to be in a relationship, I needed an equal partner. I needed someone who was going to be kind of on the same mindset as I was, but also someone who could shut me up when I needed shut it up and build me up when I needed being built up. And I'll tell you, they're out there if you visualize what you want for yourself. I prayed for this man to come into my life, and 25 years I've been married to him, right? Marriage isn't always easy. but it's a partnership. It's what you will allow each other to say to each other. And when I say the word allow, it doesn't mean obey. It's respect for each other. It's respect for yourself. It's getting rid of feeling like you're not worthy, like you have no worth. And it's getting rid of that fear of who am I going to be when I'm all alone in my head by myself meditating. That's why, to me, a lot of people have problems meditating. It's that fear of being quiet, of what's going to come in to the mind and what I need to address and work through and release. So know that, one, you're not alone. Creator is with you at all times. He's not going to leave you. But there are times that we need to work through issues that we've placed ourselves in front of. You are exactly where you need to be, either to learn a lesson or because you've placed yourself here. And if you don't want to be in this position that you're in, it's time to meditate, forgive, do transference, speak positively about yourself, and change the situations around you. Otherwise, you're going to continue to spin out of control all the time. Depression is going to continue to set in. Anxiety is going to continue to set in. And I can tell you from experience, depression and anxiety, to me, are the scariest things in the world. And when I went to counseling, when I did the meds, I was afraid to switch medications because the medication that I was on was working at the time. But I eventually was able to work through those things in my head because my head was my enemy. Can you believe that? Your head is your enemy. Your mouth is your enemy. Your actions are your enemies. If you're not walking in grace with yourself, if you're not calling on abundance for yourself, if you're not doing the things that are best for you, right? You need to do things for other people as well. But if you're not sleeping right, eating right, talking to yourself right, being able to walk away from those things that devalue you, it's like putting dirty oil in an engine. You don't want to do that. So don't allow those past relationships, those past words, those past traumas to affect where you are right now. Okay? Wow. So again, if you have any questions, I thought I would get, maybe some phone calls on this 301-429-9247. I just feel so passionately about raising the vibration of your own energy, feeling good about yourself, being in charge of your own destiny, not allowing those, there are bad people that are out there, but not allowing them to be part of your tribe. And your tribe are those people who, will be there with you no matter what. They're there in the good and in the bad. I have lots of friends on my Facebook friends list. Lots of friends. But when I think about the ones that I can truly count on, those 2 o'clock in the morning friends, the ones that can talk me off the ceiling, there's probably 3, maybe 4. That's my tribe. And I've found that when I give up the thought of thinking that other people are going to do for me exactly what I'm going to do for them, it gave me such a release, because I realized I do things for people just because that's who I am. Not everybody's like that. And I had to get rid of that fear and that anger of, well, if I need somebody, why aren't they here for me? The people that I need to be here for me are here for me. So you have a choice. Do you want to walk away from the things that make you feel unworthy? Or do you want to find value in yourself? Because that's the true secret for 2020, for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for January, for February, for any situation, for a new chapter in your life. Finding value in yourself, that's the starting point. That's the runners take your mark. Finding value in yourself. You know, if someone has made you feel less than who you are, I am truly sorry that they put you in that situation. But I'm here to tell you that you are loved and that you are needed and that it takes one small step at a time. Start with the 3 deep breaths. Start with you. What do I need to do today to make me feel good? And take that hard, honest look. Believe in yourself. There was a quote by Christian Larson that I wrote down. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside of you greater than any obstacle around you. So for those of you who have children or siblings, if someone were trying to stop them and you knew that they needed to move forward, you would do everything in your power to help them move over that obstacle. So if you're going to help your child, your sibling, a parent, a friend move over the obstacle, why wouldn't you help yourself? Right? Stop talking negatively to yourself. Tell yourself, it's going to be a good day today. I used to put sticky notes in my car when I was an on-the-road salesperson that said, I am CEO of my territory. So it left me know I made the decision during the day if it was going to be a good day or a bad day because I was the CEO. It's my business. So your body, your energy, that's your business. And you want to grow it. You want to feel loved. You want to send love. You want to get rid of the fear and the anxiety within yourself by first starting with loving yourself. And I'm not the person who says in order to be loved, you have to love yourself. Because I truly believe that feeling love can help you love yourself. But I'm telling you, we get up in the morning, we take a shower, we put our clothes on, we go to work, we put makeup on or whatever. We want to look and feel a certain way. That's your subconscious telling you, I'm worthy of it, right? I just really want that for this year, for so many people to walk out of the darkness and into the light and realize that they are so worthy and they are so loved, and to stop allowing other people to control what their emotions are. Understand? So when I first started thinking about what I was going to talk about this week, I just really thought, we have 2020 vision. It has to be a good year. So how do I talk about that? How do I talk about the secret to success for this year, for today, for tomorrow? Well, the secret to success starts with the worthiness of yourself. It's valuing who you are. And to me, it was a difficult subject to talk about, but it's not. It's one of those things where it feels like it should be so obvious for all of us to be able to just wipe it away. But it's the hardest thing to do because your mind makes you think negative. I don't get it. I struggle with it all the time. Why am I thinking so negatively? Why am I getting upset about that? I don't have any control over that. And then worry sets in. So, I hope that this has touched your mind. I hope that this has touched that inner voice within you. I want you to try to think about going back in your spirit, going back in your mind to where you felt good and figure out where that road changed. Because guaranteed, wherever that road changed, you can go back to that and take another road. It's never too late to change the way you feel about yourself. It's only ever too late once you give up and think, this is the way it's just going to have to be. Would you rather live 100 years thinking, man, I wish I would have done this, or why didn't I try this? Why didn't I do this? Why did I deal with all of this? I don't want to be on my deathbed and think, man, I wish I would have worked harder for the corporation that I used to work for. In my mind, on my deathbed, I'm hoping that I will think and feel to myself, I should have spent more time with my family. But they knew that I loved them. They knew that I was there for them. And they knew that I cared about them. To me, that's what's putting what is important first. It's my immediate family. Some of the outside family or some of my extended family were relatives by blood, yes. But a lot of my friends are family, right? So people are put into your life for a reason, for a season, or for life. So even if you have grown up with a certain person in your life and they have taught you certain things, as an adult, maybe you outgrow them. Maybe you need to unfriend people on Facebook. You have to start to think about where your energy level is at. If you wake up angry, you have to release that. Release what holds you back. So, spin cycles, purging things, meditating, forgiving, and we were talking about forgiveness. When you're forgiving, that is more for yourself than for the other person a lot of times. And when you forgive someone, doesn't mean you're going to allow them to put you back in the same situation that you were in before, right? You're forgiving them, you're releasing them, you're forgiving the situation. You're not allowing those things to happen again. So, true empowerment comes when we are present and we listen to our inner voice. How do we listen to our inner voice? We meditate, right? If we need to do things, we transfer it out of our spirit. We release it, we forgive it. But most important, we believe in ourselves. That's one of the most important things. You have to believe that you have that value. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside of you that is greater than any obstacle. So Vibe Tribe, connecting to spirit followers, I hope I feel like I was able to say the things that I needed to say. I'm not really sure if they were in the right sequence, but I have to trust that the things that I said from my throat chakra with my heart chakra, because of my third eye and what I receive, was exactly what you needed to hear. I pray that you all are living the life you love and you're loving the life you live. If not, you're the only one that can change it. So take that time for yourself. Do something special for yourself. Find that safe space in your mind to love and care for yourself and know that you're worthy. So I think that's probably, I know I'm a little bit early today, but I've said pretty much what I want to say. Saying prayers, giving thanks for the situations that come up. Because when you thank them, you've learned. All right? So I will talk to you next week at 10:30, WBGR Network in Health and Wellness. I'll talk to you guys very soon. And again, I pray that you all are living the life you love. You're loving the life you live. If not, you're the only one that can change it. Your vision for 2020 is that self-talk for yourself and working through the things that no longer serve you and purging them. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
If you're a product of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or wish that you were, then you'll want to step inside Hip Gypsy Emporium for a trip back in time. We're a kindred spirits treasure trove located in the former Duffield School in Chambersburg. We offer home, garden, and vintage, clothing and jewelry, soaps and fragrances, teas and honeys, oils and crystals, products from local vendors and artisans, and Christmas items 365 days a year. Hip Gypsy Emporium, located at 2168 Mont Alto Road in Chambersburg.